Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Wednesday. We're always looking for ways to encourage others to make healthier lifestyle changes. One way is to be more mindful of what you eat. So many of us turn to food as a source of comfort, which can lead to consuming unnecessary calories. And some of these comfort food can expose us to harmful chemicals, especially those in baked goods, processed foods, and fast foods. It's okay to treat yourself having things that you enjoy in moderation. Everyone has their own ways of coping. But when you are feeling emotional, there are healthier alternatives than turning to food every single time. And that's why we're so glad to be talking on IG Live today with Natalie Shortsleeve. Natalie is a certified weight loss coach and founder of Your Better Fit Life. During this live, we're going to discuss what emotional eating is, the role of boredom plays in overconsumption, how to have desserts and still lose weight. I really need to know that, and so much more. I saw Natalie. Here you are. Hi, Natalie. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I saw your walk, and it was very, very beautiful.
Yes, I always try to get in a midday walk if I can.
That's so awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became a certified weight loss coach.
Yeah, of course. So I am a certified personal trainer through NASM. I'm certified nutrition through Precision Nutrition and also health mindset through HMCC. And it was kind of an interesting journey of how I got here. So little backstory. I used to work in the legal world, and I was working 100-hour work weeks, totally burnt out. Loved what I did, but it just wasn't sustainable in that moment. I gained over 40 pounds. I lost like 70% of my hair. I was eating all the, packaged processed goods that they give you in the law firms to make sure you stay there, and don't leave. And, I just really lost myself. And it was not a healthy way to live. So I actually got myself a personal trainer, and I was working out at the gym one day, and I had this big like aha moment where it was, after the workout with those post-workout endorphins like running through me, and I'm sitting on the mat with this big smile on my face. And I realized how happy and proud of myself and just good about myself that I felt in that moment. And that's when I decided I need to switch careers because I want to help other people feel that feeling.
Mhm.
So, it's kind of a roundabout way to get to where I am, but I left the legal world. I went back to school. I studied personal training, I studied nutrition, and the mindset piece to lead me to where I am now, where I help women live their better fit lives through habit and behavior change and mindset reprogramming.
Wow, that's so incredible. That's a huge change. That's a huge change.
Yeah. It was a big change for me, but it really helped me one, understand my current clients now because I understand the corporate world. I understand how tempting it is. We're going to be talking about emotional eating today. I understand how tempting it is to just easily eat the, Cheerios that come in the individual servings that they serve in corporations, or, the cookies. My law firm had a someone coming around at 3 p.m. every single day, literally on a silver platter with freshly baked cookies, just, and they would stop in my office. Do you want a cookie? How could you say no?
Yeah.
Right? So I get that real life temptation. And through my program and through my experiences, through education and through the last, I think it's been over almost 9 years now that I've been doing this, um, you know, I know how to handle it and I can help you. So,
That's so cool. Because you also have a certification that not everyone or not all the coaches have, which is the health mindset coaching. It's really special. So what role does, mindset have in making decisions, about your food choices?
everything. I mean, I love this quote and I use this a lot. You get what you work for, but you keep what you think you deserve, right? Because think about that, right? You can starve yourself and lose weight. You can work out all you want and get a six pack. But if you don't truly believe that you're worthy of that better fit life that you so desire, it's not going to stick, right? So that's where our mind comes in, where we have all these preconceived notions of, this narrative that we've been told about ourselves, right? That we not necessarily came up with, but, something that's either been the media telling us or movies telling us or our parents, our life experiences have shaped how we feel about ourselves. And
Mhm.
the certification that I got was one of the biggest breakthroughs in my coaching business because everything is your brain, right? And your brain believes what you tell it. So, speaking of food choices, if we are, we want what's in our mind to align with our goals,
Mm.
right? And again, our brain believes what to tell it and it takes action based off of that thought. So if we're telling ourselves, what's the point? You know, I always mess up, or it's just one little cookie or chip or whatever it may be, that's the action that we're going to take. And those
Mhm.
actions need to align with our goals if we want them to happen, right?
That's that's so true.
Yeah. So everything boils down to mindset and our thoughts about ourselves. That voice that, that's in our head. We want that to not be a critical voice and to not go against what we want. We want to align with that voice.
So this is probably really tied to emotional eating.
Uh-huh.
So, in your words, like what is emotional eating?
So the definition of emotional eating is actually any time eating is driven by an external circumstance. So what is not true hunger, right? We have our hunger hormones, our leptin, our ghrelin. Our leptin tells us that we're full, our ghrelin tells us we are hungry. And when our ghrelin is truly going off and it's really, ready to eat, that's true hunger. But when, maybe we're not so hungry, maybe we're, sad. Or maybe we're at work and Brandy brought in her famous banana bread and really wants you to try it and is standing over your desk saying, "Oh, come on, I made it for you. Just try it." Right? That's when the term emotional eating comes in, and it's interesting. I actually have shifted my language when I use the term emotional eating because it's such a taboo word.
Mhm.
So many
Mhm.
people, it has this negative
Yep.
connotation.
Yep.
Everyone, when I say, "Oh, I specialize in emotional eating," they go, "Oh, I don't do that," because it has this, "Oh, I eat ice cream late at night when I'm sad. My boyfriend's not calling me," right? Like, that's not emotional eating. Boredom is an emotion, right? And emotional eating is really the umbrella term for situational eating,
Mhm.
right? The situation that you're in, for the circumstance that's in front of you, for, you know, whatever it may be. Again, whenever it's not driven by internal forces, your ghrelin hormone, whenever it is externally. That's really the crux of what emotional eating is.
Yeah, you mentioned it's like very situational, circumstantial. So it's obviously that emotional eating is like super easy to do at a party.
Oh,
I know you have some great tips how to avoid that habit.
yeah.
Tell us.
Well, you know, again, that's all the situation that we're in. And I was just at an event last night that had this huge charcuterie board, which I love charcuterie. And it was beautiful. And it was charcuterie around the world. It was all different types of meats and cheeses and breads and dips, to, hit all the different countries and cultures. And it was really good. And what I noticed was so many people were, it was a networking event, and so many people were networking around the charcuterie board. And they're all standing around there. And what are they doing? Oh, oh, that's so great. Oh, and they keep eating. Why? Because it's right in front of you. So what's in front of you, you're gonna keep eating, right? Because we can talk about willpower later. That is something that, I love to flex and I love to, because willpower is a muscle. But number one tip, if you're at a party, Don't stand over the food. Take, if you're having a conversation, kind of merge it somewhere else. Walk into a different direction. Try to get people to kind of not stand in front of the food. And if it's not in your sight, you won't be so tempted. It won't be calling your name, right?
That's a great tip. I feel like every time I go to a party, I'm like, deep by default, I just go next to the
Yeah.
and then
And
the men
so
will
often,
probably in the same boat too.
yeah. And so often, we're hanging out in the kitchen, and I know a lot of people work from home, and if they don't have a dedicated, I made sure this is my dedicated office. I made sure I have our spare bedroom became the office, because if I'm downstairs in the kitchen, and sometimes I do work down there, if I'm in between, cooking things or making bread, and I need to, make, every 15 minutes stretch and fold, uh, I'm eating a lot more than I should be because it's front of mind, right? So that's the number one tip. And if you are, and I'll say another big tip, if you are on a weight loss journey and you are counting your calories or tracking your food, first off, charcuterie boards can be a nightmare because you take a little bite and you don't think it counts, and you take another little bite, right? Um, but my biggest tip for that is to um, take your plate and fill that plate with what you want and know what's there, and kind of you don't have to physically track it, but if you don't want to, but mentally track what is there and say, okay, I'm going to have, 3 pieces of cheese. I'm going to have 4 pieces of, whatnot, but acknowledge that. And the reason I'm saying this out loud is because I want you to say it out loud, at least in your head out loud, right? Because again, your brain follows through on what we tell it. So if we're telling our brain, first step, okay, this is what I'm going to eat. Yes, we can argue with our brain later when we want another piece, but the initial step is to say it out loud, at least in your head, so your brain hears, this is what I'm going to be eating, and I am okay with it. Because another tip for parties, this is again mindset, there's good food all around us all the time. Even if you're at your aunt's Christmas party where she only makes this, dish once a year, you can have it again next year. And you know what the best thing about having the internet? You can figure out how to make that dish yourself, or if there's something that, oh, they only bring in, they ship in these treats and you can't, hey, we have Amazon, we have eBay. We can figure out how to get it at another time. So ditching that, scarcity mindset or the all or nothing mindset is so key while we're in these situations where we don't have that much control over what's in front of us.
So true. So some people also partake in late night snacking. I know that's like a number one culprit for like weight gain. So what causes this late night snacking? And then, any tips for minimizing this habit?
Yeah. So number one, I ask my clients, because this is very common. Um, Ask yourself why, right? Why is this happening? And we need to be honest with ourselves too. That's another thing, is to truly be honest and understand, why am I doing this? Because number one, am I hungry? Right? Did you not eat enough protein at dinner? All you had were maybe a bowl of pasta, and your body metabolized that really quick and you're hungry again, right? You don't have enough to satisfy you, to satiate you. So number one, why? Are you truly internally hungry? Answer is probably not. Second question is, why are you awake?
Mhm. Mm,
Most of the time, just go to bed. Go to bed. But really, the deeper why is what's going on, right? And for emotional eating, I walk my clients through this, is how to eliminate emotional eating and how to prevent it, is my acronym RAIN. So, first off, recognize what you are actually feeling. What is actually going on, right? If you are late night eating, most of the time you're not hungry. So, food, you know, hunger is not what's going on. So, what is going on, right? Are you anxious about a deadline that you have to do? Or, has someone not called you back that you're really hoping for? what is your actual emotion? Or are you bored and do you need to go to bed? Do you need to brush your teeth and go to bed? Um, Recognize that emotion, right? And the second thing, the A in the rain is allow it.
Mm.
Allow that emotion in because we so often push away our emotions. We think, stuffing ourselves with food is just going to avoid the emotion. But what is an emotion? Emotion, energy in motion.
Mm.
Emotions are meant to flow through us. So
Mhm.
we need to accept the emotion that we're in and allow to feel it, right? Emotions, quite frankly, most big emotions only last between 30 seconds and 2 minutes, 10 minutes tops. So allow that emotion in, recognize it, allow it, accept it. And then the I is investigate it. Why is it happening? What happened earlier today that's causing you to be anxious or what's going to happen, right? Or if you're sad or if you're bored, what's going on that's causing this, right? Are you, let's say we're bored, right? Are you just doom scrolling on your phone and your mouth is lonely? Like maybe we chew some gum or something, right? Investigate what's going on because the truth is you want to answer the emotion with the appropriate response. And most of the time, food's not going to be the appropriate
Mm.
response. So if you're lonely, call a friend. If you're sad, what's something you can do to get you happy again? Maybe it's listen to your favorite music or, watch your favorite stand up comic, something like that, right? And then the last letter in rain is N, which is nurture. It is okay to have these emotions. It is okay to want to go and eat food because most of the time that's a habit, right? That is a habit we've picked up along the way. Late night snacking is a habit we pick up along the way. So understand it's okay to have these emotions. Nurture with self compassion. Hey, we're going through it right now. It's okay. This is something we've done, and it doesn't have to be something we need to continue to do. So treat yourself with, self compassion. It's okay. What else can we do? And, answer with the appropriate response.
I love this. Brain. So recognize, allow, and investigate and nurture. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Ah, it's so true. It's so true. So you mentioned a boredom. I think that's also an emotion people don't usually recognize.
Yeah.
And then you eat out of boredom. So how do we mitigate boredom? Like how do we mitigate actually eating out of boredom?
Yeah. So boredom is our generation, our culture, and the younger generations, we get bored real quick. Our attention span is split second these days. And so often I'll see, I'll visit a friend and I'll see them watch a TV, watch something on the TV and scroll on their phone and text at the same time. Like, what is happening here? Overload, right? And it's when we're not doing that, we get bored because we're so used to instant gratification, which is
Mhm.
what ends up the eating ends up being, right? And so one of the things I have my clients do is create an emotional coping toolbox. So if you know that boredom is a culprit of yours, is something that, that happens a lot, that you end up gravitating towards food, I want you to write out a list of things that can solve that boredom, right?
Mhm.
So, whatever it may be. Maybe it's play Sudoku, right? Or draw or write journal or listen to a song or go for a walk. As we were talking earlier, movement is huge to, mitigate that boredom. If you're bored, go outside, go for a walk, go up and down the stairs in your office or in your house, walk around, call someone. And the biggest thing too is without whatever that list may be for you, maybe it's dance, right? Maybe it's sing or call your mom or whatever it is, make it easy and accessible for you to do. So, a lot of my clients, they'll have like sticky notes, right? They'll have a sticky note on the fridge that will say, are you hungry or are you just bored? And, that could be a little tough love, but it's like, hey, you know, I'm not hungry. Thank you for the reminder, right? And have sticky notes of whenever, you find yourself bored, write out a note that reminds you of what you can do or have the thing nearby. So if it's I don't know, read a book, maybe where you typically get bored, have books, right? If you like to draw, if you like to whatever it may be, if you like to maybe work out, if you're bored, go work out. Have your yoga mat out and ready. So have it easy and accessible because when we are trying to create a habit, we want it to be easy and accessible to do. And when we are trying to break a habit, we want it to not be easy and accessible. So that goes for the reverse. If you're bored or if you have, whatever the emotion may be, let's not make the food so easily accessible, right? So let's not leave, the chips out on the counter. Let's put them out in the back of the cabinet. Or if you I love this one is if you're eating dinner and you've already had your portion size, then you're good, but you're eating family style and so, the pasta is still on the counter and you're done eating, but it's still there and it's talking to you, right? It's telling you, "Hey, come back for more," right? Put it in the fridge. Put it in Tupperware as soon as you're done and put it in the fridge. And you can still stay and chat and eat and, hang out, but put the food away, out of sight, out of mind. So when we are trying to break that boredom eating habit, don't make your food so easily accessible.
I really like the tip of adding more movement into our day or or even week. I read a study that even if you're a weekend warrior, it still works. Just like any movement is better than no movement. And then I felt like it filling your time and also give you, you can burn calories on top of that and also many other benefits when it comes to exercise. So, how can we add more movements into our day?
First off, recognizing that the all or nothing mentality, right? Something is better than nothing. And know that 5 minutes, 1 minute of movement is better than nothing. You are going to feel better. And most of the time, when you set out for 1 minute, it ends up being 5 minutes. It ends up being 10 minutes. I don't have much time. It's the end of the day. I'm just going to do one 60-second plank. But that plank ends up also being 20 bridges, and then I'll do 20 leg raises. And I go, well, maybe I'll do 10 push ups. And boom, I have a circuit. And then I go, well, maybe I'll do it again. So then I do the plank, and it kind of um, snowballs right into something bigger. But sneaking movement in is so important, even in little doses. It all adds up. So if you're stuck in the office and you have meetings, and your meetings are 55 minutes going into the hour, and then you have another one, you have 30 seconds to reconvene. Stand up and do 10 squats. You know, stand up, do 10 squats, do a couple lunges, drink a lot of water so you can go to the bathroom, right? Drinking water, that's my favorite side effect of drinking water is it makes you go to the bathroom more, which means you're getting more steps in. If you're drinking, I'm not gonna my phone's all propped up, so I'm not gonna move it, but I have 6 water glasses here. And
That's so funny.
I drink a lot of water because, well, one, it makes me feel better and it's good for me, but it gets me moving more because I gotta pee like every 45 minutes.
I love it. I love it. You also have a lot great posts saying that people can still have desserts and lose weight, which I love because I have a sweet tooth. So tell us the trick.
So, one of my good friends, she's also in this field, and she says, you can't build $1 million body with a dollar menu. And I'm gonna start out by saying, be a food snob, you know. And I know you know this. There are so many chemicals and additives and preservatives that disrupt our endocrine system and everything else in packaged goods and in those snacks and in the, desserts. Be a food snob. Those aren't really that good. You know what's really good? Baking your own dessert. You know what's really good? Going to the bakery and getting a really delicious croissant, right? It's rich, it's a lot of calories, but it's way better for you because there's not chemicals in there that are going to make you want to have more of it, right? You're going to have a few bites and go, wow, this is really rich. Take your time eating it.
Mhm.
And then you get full, right? And that's so lots to talk about with dessert. But number one, let's be a food snob and let's eat something that's worth it, right? Everything is a math equation, everything is calories. Let's make those calories count in a way that is actually going to be beneficial. So if someone's serving chips, and no knock to Chips Ahoy, but a little knock. If they're, if they have Chips Ahoy out, don't eat that. Eat bake some cookies, eat cookies that are delicious because then you can enjoy it. When I make my cookies, I eat it on a plate with with a little mini spoon, and I love being my little fancy self, taking about 20 minutes to eat one cookie, right? And that's the other thing too. A tip is slow down, enjoy, savor. So often we shove stuff in our mouth and we eat so quickly, but the truth is our leptin hormone takes about 20 to 30 minutes to slowly come into our body and our brain to recognize, oh, we're full. So if we're shoving food in our mouth so quickly, we're not going to recognize we're full. We're not going to feel full, and we're going to end up overeating, right? So slow it down and recognize homemade, good food that doesn't have the additives and chemicals that are going to make you want more and make your brain think you need more. Do that. And also too, portion sizes.
Mhm.
You can have whatever you want. You might not be able to have all of it. It might not be the portion sizes you're used to, but you can always enjoy. And the truth is, again, this is getting rid of that scarcity mentality. And I'll give you a little story. So I used to I had this carrot cake that was I only got once a year, and it was so good. And I would eat way too many slices, and I would overdo it. But I only had it once a year, so I'm like, oh, I got so excited. And then I put it into my Fitness Pal because I found the recipe, and I put it all the ingredients, and I saw that it was like 1,300 calories per slice.
My God.
And I was eating more. I'm not kidding you, like 6 or 7 slices. It was really good. Um, and I learned to make it myself, and it was just as good. Oh my god, it was so good, and especially warm right now. It's delicious.
Oh my.
I love it. But because I made it myself, I knew I can make it at any time. And that's why I love making my own desserts, is removing that scarcity mentality, knowing that good food is all around and I can get it and make it and eat it whenever I want. So you know, um, when you are eating delicious foods, desserts, remind yourself that I don't need to finish this. It's
Mhm.
okay, right? It's going to be, and I know people are going to come at me, I don't want to food waste. You can save it for later. You don't have to throw it out. You can put it back in your fridge and you can have it the next day, right?
Mhm.
You can always have more at another time. But if it doesn't fit your goals to eat it right in all in that moment, remember your actions got to align with your goals.
Mhm. I also think you can kind of, besides portion control, you can also control what ingredients you put it in your food versus, packaged stuff, as you mentioned, the additives and preservatives and all these. And you can also like half the sugar. Oftentimes I half the sugar in my dessert because I love desserts. So that's another thing I.
And you don't even notice it, and it tastes better. And fattier desserts, I think, are better because they keep you fuller for longer. But yeah, you can control what you put in. You can manage, if you can manage it for your needs. So you can control the sugar, you can control the amount of chocolate, you can control the well, really anything about it if you're making it yourself. You can add what you want, remove what you don't want. So it allows you to have more control.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to making your own dessert and cookings and everything, you also had a great post, which you said that, if I were starting my health journey over again, here's one thing I wouldn't skip, and the answer is a food scale.
Yeah.
Why is that?
So I know a lot of people get, crazy about the food scale because they think, oh, it can lead to disordered eating. But the reason I love the food scale, at least initially, I don't use it all the time. But the reason I love the food scale is because it allows you to understand what you're actually eating. So if I were to tell you, oh, eat 5 ounces of chicken, how would you know what 5 ounces of chicken is, right? You don't, well, how big is that, right? Now you know. If you measure it, you can know. And a food scale is more accurate than using, cups or tablespoons or whatnot. And it's so easy to just to know how much of something is what you think it is or not think it is, right? Like if someone told you, "Oh, a good portion size for you is 1 cup of rice," I guarantee when you weigh that, you're gonna see that what you thought was 1 cup of rice is probably 2, right? Or vice versa on the other side, if you're eating fruit and you put it and you see the amount of grams, you're like, "Oh, wow, that's a lot of fruit," right? I didn't realize how much fruit I could eat now. This is great. But yeah, the most depressing day is when you measure out your peanut butter and see
Oh my god.
how how little 1 tablespoon of peanut butter is.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. I just want to show you.
Ah,
It's on my desk. Apple. Yeah.
yeah, so
I'm controlling it.
that's one of the things. If it's right in front of you, you're gonna end up eating more of it than if it was away in the cabinet.
I'm learning. Ring. I'm learning today. I know we're a little bit over, but I have two more questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Because I think going through this journey, it's really good for people to know, but it's also really hard for people to get started. So it'll be really awesome for them to be able to work with someone like you. So how can someone work with you?
Yeah. Yeah, so they can find me on Instagram and they can DM me. We can have a conversation and go from there. Or on my website, which is yourbetterfitlife.com, they can apply for coaching. And really, what coaching is a container that you are supported and you are held accountable. So, I'm holding your hand, but I'm also holding you accountable and teaching you how to be accountable for yourself. And I like to view myself as a mama bird, and my clients are my baby birds, right? And it's my job to help them, grow their wings nice and strong so they can fly out of the nest that we've created in this coaching container so they never have to come back, right? I want to be able to teach you how to do this on your own. And so you're never going to need another diet coach, another, meal plan, whatever it may be. You're never going to need to do that again because you're going to learn how to do an audit so you can maintain your weight, how to live a life post diet.
You also have an online learning course. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I created this course because I was repeating myself over and over and over again in my coaching sessions. And so now I walk my clients through this course, but I also have it for, if people don't really feel like I don't need a coach, I don't really need the accountability, I just want the information. This course is a behemoth of a course. There's 11 modules and it goes through, first the education of nutrition because this is not something we're taught in schools and we don't know, right? And it's really important to understand, that avocado is a healthy fat, but it's a fat, right? It's not a veggie. And it's something really important for you, but it's also a calorie bomb. It's a lot of calories. So if you're eating avocado toast, that's really wonderful, but it's probably not going to fit your goals if you're eating a whole avocado. I mean, that could be up to 900 calories on toast, right? So education is a really big proponent in or section in the course to begin with, but then it goes through how to eat when you don't have control, right? When you're out at parties, when you're out at a dinner at a restaurant or a dinner party, what to do at holiday events, that kind of stuff. And then we talk a lot about emotional eating, a lot of body image. The biggest module is self-sabotage because that always creeps in there. What it is, what happens, how to navigate it, how to avoid it, and then a lot of education on how sleep, stress, water, all of those things affect your weight loss journey. And the last portion, which I think differentiates me from a lot of other nutritionists out there, is teaching you one, how to pull yourself out of a diet, how to pull yourself into maintenance so that you're not going to yo-yo, right? You're going to lose the weight and be able to maintain it. And the biggest, most important portion is how to live a life post diet.
Mhm.
How to live, how to eat normally. Like, what does normal eating mean? Because a lot of times we come in, normal is just what we're used to, but it's not what's beneficial, right? So learning what normal eating looks like. So yeah, so that is my course.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for what you do and then sharing everything with us. I know we're a little bit over, but thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. And then make sure you follow Natalie and then check out the course and the book a session. So this is amazing. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.